We're in the Friday Sonoma writing group, and each week we're assigned a theme. And this is wonderful because it really gets us writing, and it's really generated, you know, a lot of my writing. And a couple weeks ago, we were asked to write about a skirmish. Cat and dog walked down a Chinatown street, a happy couple who'd been an item for the last 6 weeks. "Oh, I'm dying for some dim sum," Cat said. "Let's go to Golden Good Eats." "No way," said Dog. "I heard they put ground dog meat in their steamed beef balls." "Honey, you really need to quit surfing. You're the perfect victim of cyber myths. No one eats dog nowadays." "You mean no one in middle-class America? How come I saw that guy come out of the deli and slip the dog catcher some money?" said Dog. "That is so paranoid. You think everyone is following you around with a net." "Paranoid?" Dog snorted out a bark. "You're the one who doesn't want to get married because you thought the paparazzi would make too big a deal of our species difference. You're so worried scientists will put us in a lab and do experiments. Such feline foolishness." "Yeah, well, look what happened to Jumbo when she became best friends with Mousy. They were put in therapy for years." "Honey, this is San Francisco. We're not in Texas, for God's sakes." "Why, nowadays you can even change your gender. A nice female like you could get your plumbing fixed. Before you know it, you can squirt against a fire hydrant just like me." "That's not funny, dear. What's this with the pee I smelled on my umbrella stand this morning? If and when we ever do get married, there will be a proper name on our door, so you won't have to leave urine stains all over, announcing your territory." They turned and walked up a block, passing by ducks hanging upside down, their feet twisted neatly, white goblets of fat sparkling on crispy skin. Dog's tail drooped. "Whose idea was it to go to Chinatown anyway?" he said. "I never cared for this whole Chinese culture routine. They're always eating stuff like fish heads, pig's feet, even roasted cockroaches. Why do they say 5,000-year-old civilization? Bet you they never even heard of vegan." "Vegan?" Cat let out a hiss. "Who took the lamb bone I was saving for soup stock last night and decided it had to be gnawed on at my bed, stinking the place up with their bits of grizzle?" Cat saw Dog's ears stiffen. Last week he'd complained about how her eyes glared like glass marbles when she was angry. He said he couldn't get past her stare and see any layers of meaning. Then he started reminiscing about the soulful eyes of his mother, how they offered warmth and understanding. Lately they didn't seem to agree on anything. The other night when he'd gotten romantic and Cat wanted to be left alone, he said he thought someone as dainty as Cat would be sweeter. Not like all those other bitches he'd gone out with. A large truck pulled out in front of them. Feathers were pressed against wire cages as chickens squawked and ducks honked. Burly men thumped their cargo of fowl down onto the street. Dog saw a crate of crabs, their shells pale and packed so tight together he thought they might crack. Dog slowed down. "I don't feel so good, honey. Maybe we should go home and have a bowl of milk." Cat looked at Dog's drooping shoulder. She looked at the familiar slump on the right side, a defect that always slightly annoyed her, but now made her fur flatten with disgust. She knew Dog was sensitive. In fact, that was the initial attraction. But there was a difference between sensitivity and wimpiness. After all, Cat came from an ancient lineage of majesty and potency. He was getting so cranky lately. He was 5 years older than her, and that was a big difference in the animal world. She'd heard of some cats living to 20, but dogs hardly to 12 or 13. They were always so rambunctious and hyper. Their hearts gave out, and they became inflexible. She remembered her mom's warning, "You can't teach an old dog new tricks." Now it seemed he would roll over and play hypochondriac at the slightest disturbance. Cat heard a low growl as Dog's jowls quivered. 2 Great Danes came sashaying down the street toward them and began catcalling. They jeered, "Hey, old mutt, getting any good pussy lately?" Dog froze. The Danes encircled dog and cat, pale gums displaying, incisors curled and sharp. "What's the matter? Cat's got your tongue? Did you get that weird mouser at Alice in Wonderland's?" Their snarls and taunts became vicious. "She'd look great with a tin can on her tail. Wish I had some tweezers and could pull me off a few whiskers." Cat's heart lurched, making her back stretched into a panic arc. She forced herself not to bolt. There were no trees around these concrete slabs, and cars were her downfall. She wished Mimi hadn't convinced her to get a pedicure so at least she could have some sharp claws. Danes were invincible, dangerous animals. In a flash, Dog charged, eyes gleaming with a wolfish red. He leapt for the nearest throat. A man unloading the truck tripped on Dog's hind leg. A crate fell on one of the Dane's haunches and crashed to the street, spilling out hissing geese and frantic chickens. A policeman's whistle made Cat dizzy with its piercing streams. The Danes backed off, wary that they'd get nabbed for this skirmish, and ducked in an alley. Dog hurried Cat off, his jaws clenched firm and unyielding. Cat's ears continued erect and straining. Sounds made her so anxious. Even a bug scuttling across the floor roused her. A rush of wind rippled down her back. The sky had long turned gray. She thought of the warm spot on her windowsill. She really wasn't that adventurous. She worried that being in a relationship with a man like Dog was fraught with chaos and difficulty. What kind of children would they issue? But doggone, he'd shown gumption. A familiar but involuntary sensation stirred through Cat's bowels. A low murmur reverberated in the back of her throat and began its soft vibrations. The volume increased into a steady hum, and Cat gave Dog's paw a squeeze.